They said Margaret Cole would not see another Christmas, but 5 years later, and she's still dancing. This is not a story about medicine, it's a story about meaning. At 57, Margaret had lived a full life, a music teacher, mother, and widow who found comfort in melody. Until one gray afternoon, her world fell silent. The doctor's voice was calm, but the words cut through her like thunder. Stage 4. It's aggressive. 3 months, maybe 4. Time collapsed. She wasn't afraid of dying. She was afraid of leaving her song unfinished. That night, she sat in her car and whispered to the rain, "I taught music for 30 years, but I never learned how to say goodbye." When she got home, she wrote her will, then her final letter to Lydia. But as she folded the paper, a small note slipped out from her notebook, a quote she had written months before. "When you feel you've reached your last note, let your heart compose another." She smiled, and for the first time since the diagnosis, she exhaled. The next morning, she decided that if she had only 3 months left, they would be the most beautiful months of her life. No hospitals, no despair, only joy, music, and gratitude. She began each day with a journal entry. On the first page, she wrote, "If I cannot add days to my life, I'll add life to my days." Her body was failing, but something inside her refused to surrender. She started meditating, 10 minutes a day of stillness. She listened to Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, saying it slowed her heart enough to hear God. "When I play, I don't feel sick," she said. "I feel seen." And with every note, something began to shift. One night, she dreamt she was standing on an empty stage, and a voice whispered, "You will dance again." When she woke, she wrote those words on her mirror in red lipstick. From that day, she began moving again. Slow stretches, 1 step, 2. She told her doctor, "If my body wants to go, it can go, but I'll meet it dancing." Her laughter returned. The nurses called her Sunshine. Neighbors came by just to listen to her hum. And though her scans still showed shadows, her eyes glowed with life. "Maybe healing isn't curing," she said once. "Maybe it's learning to live while you're still here." If her story had ended there, it would already have been beautiful. A woman who found light at the edge of darkness. But this is not where Margaret's story ends, because sometimes miracles take their time. "When you dance with life," she said, "eventually life learns your rhythm." Stay with us. What happens next will change how you see healing forever. 5 years later, Margaret Cole is very much alive. Her doctors call it spontaneous remission. She calls it divine rhythm. She now teaches dance to women recovering from illness. Some have lost their hair, some their strength, but not their will. "In this room," she says, "we don't move to be perfect. We move to be present." Each week, she meets people who come in broken and leave believing again. She tells them stories of faith, of resilience, of a music that never dies. One of her favorite quotes is by Viktor Frankl. "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." She says that line before every class. It has become her new lesson plan. When asked if she ever feared the illness might return, she simply smiled and said, "I stopped fearing death when I realized I had already learned to live." Her scans show nothing. Her heart shows everything. She donates part of her time volunteering in hospice. Not to talk about dying, but to teach people how to say goodbye without losing love. Margaret Cole was given 3 months to live. 5 years later, she's still dancing. Not because the cancer vanished, but because she found something greater than cure. She found peace. "You can't choose how long you live," she says, "but you can choose how deeply you love." So if you're watching this now and you've been told your time is short, remember, Margaret, miracles don't always happen in hospitals. Sometimes they happen in the human heart. This is Life Story Hub, where every heartbeat tells a story. Subscribe and stay for the next